they're afraid. They're like, oh man, I gave up my salary, or maybe they're still double dipping. Like we have a guy right now that's in revolt as a member of our actual mastermind that came to a retreat, said, hey, I want to do this, but he still has a government job making like 200 grand a year. And he's terrified to give that up and go full time on his business, but he's just going to have to burn the boats at some point. And so I think getting clear on the fact that one of the main things that we hear at all of our retreats, when we talk about blessings and we talk about reasons, why do you do what you do? Everyone says, family. I do it for my family. And for men, most of us, we say, I want to give my kids the life that I never had.
Welcome back to The Pursuit of Purpose. My name is Chris Kiefer, and I am here today with Hunter Ballew, who is the founder of revoltandroofing.com. So first of all, Hunter, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and chat today.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to be here, get to hang out, talk about some good stuff. I see we're both rocking the flannels today.
I know. Where are you located?
I'm in South Carolina.
Okay. Well, I'm in North Idaho. I made a joke the other day that I didn't own any flannels, and then I moved up here, and I was kind of like, you know what? Everybody else has flannels. It's kind of nice. Yeah. It's a little cozy.
I'm up in the mountains, so it's a little bit colder here.
That's right. So anyways, Hunter, give us a rundown. Obviously, Revolt and Roofing, that's where you fill your time. But what is it? What are they? What do you do? And yeah, bring us into the world of Hunter.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'm a small town kid here in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. Grew up, born, raised, and I tell people, born, raised, and stayed. A lot of people moved out of here as a smaller town. Now it's actually growing, pretty fast growing city just north of Greenville, South Carolina. And so went to school here. Both my parents kind of got into drugs, and it split me and my brothers up in school. And I decided to go into the Marine Corps, just kind of get out of here, kind of figure out my own life. And so I did that, went to the Marine Corps, did that for 6 years, went to the fire department after that for 5 years as a firefighter EMT. And I just had this like big goal to be a millionaire by 30. That was all I focused on when I was 18 years old. And when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, and you're doing the fire department, you're in the Marines, and you're making 24 grand a year. I think my check every 2 weeks was like $709 after taxes. Oh. You're like doing the math, and you're like, yeah, the math ain't mathing to make $1 million or be a millionaire.
Yeah, even with no taxes and no expenses, yeah. I can't get there. So something's wrong.
I can't. So, I kind of dove in entrepreneurship. I always enjoyed it, man. From a young age, I just naturally loved sales. I remember saving up money and buying candy cheap at Sam's Club and going to school and selling it. I'd go out into the woods. We had like these old dumps here in the mountains, and I'd find glass insulators and go to the flea market and sell it. So I just kind of always loved doing my own thing and making my own money. And so, yeah, I started my own business, left the fire department in 2015, shortly after I got married. That business was a marketing agency, and one of my first clients was a roofer, and I helped him scale pretty quickly from like 3 million to 7 million. And I was like, you know what? I should do this myself, like as a case study. If I can grow a company from 0 to 1 million in a year or two, then I'd probably be able to bring more clients on. And so as I started that company, Cornerstone Construction, that roofing company, I realized I enjoyed it more than I did the marketing agency, not roofing specifically, but just being able to build a team and equip that team and serve the community. And so that company grew to 8 figures. We ended up selling it for multiple 8 figures. We bought the company back. In the process, I started an event, a conference in the blue collar space, in the contractor space, called RoofCon. It grew. We went from like 39 attendees in 2019, year one, and 10 vendors to 900 in 2020, which was the year of COVID. It was like 881 attendees and 50 vendors to 2,200 people and 125. And then all the way up to this past year was over 5,200 registered attendees. And I think our best year we had 200, just shy of 250 vendors there. So yeah, had a lot of fun, man. In the process, we started Revolt. We purchased roofing.com, turned that into a partner program. I invested in an app called RepCard that actually yesterday, dude, I just found out yesterday from my partner in that business, we crossed 100,000 users. I haven't got to celebrate that publicly yet. So that was the first time. So
that's
pretty
awesome.
Pumped about that, man. Yeah.
So I have one question. I'm assuming this might've been the RoofCon piece, but I see on your Facebook, you are on stage with John Maxwell, right?
Yeah. I've got to do a couple of events with him. I've gotten to travel with him when he spoke. But yeah, that probably, I don't know which picture, but probably is at our event where we're speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you started RoofCon in 2019. Now you just had 5,200 attendees recently. And then you also, when did you stop doing firefighting?
It was December 22nd of 2015 was the last day that I worked at the fire department.
Interesting. Cause I'll have to send this podcast. I have a couple of buddies that are firefighters, and I find, obviously someone's got to do that work. I'm thankful for the people that do, but it's a grueling job for not a lot of, benefit. And then the hours are tough. And then especially now with all the sleep science that's coming out, my buddy who's a firefighter was telling me that the leading cause of death of firefighters is a lack of sleep, which then causes, a whole series of other terrible things. So anyways, that's awesome.
It's taken years off my life. You wake up at 3:00 in the morning to the alarm going off and your heart's just pounding out of your chest. I miss it. I miss the rush. I miss the adrenaline. And number one, I miss the brotherhood. And that's what led to Revolt, us founding Revolt, the mastermind, was I just had that camaraderie in the Marine Corps. I had that camaraderie when I was at the fire department. And then you go to work for yourself as an entrepreneur and you think it's going to be this great thing. And, the first little bit, like you're just solo grinding until 2 a.m. in the morning on the computer by yourself. And so I missed that. And as we started to grow the team, I wanted that group around me of people that I could relate to. So yeah, that's literally why we started it.
So give me one of the things that I know you're passionate about is legacy, leadership, and just, uniting a group of people around a common mission. So I don't know where you want to start with that, but I assume that was pivotal in roofing or in the RoofCon. And obviously, like if you attend a conference, you can tell when a conference is run, well and efficiently and it's worth your time. And I've been to conferences that aren't, So I'd be curious to know how that has permeated the different things that you do and why you're passionate about it.
Yeah, well, I could tell you with certainty that RoofCon would not be very organized if it was just me doing it, because my brain doesn't work that way. I'm the big picture guy. I'm not the details guy. So it all starts with the team, and that ties right back into what we're talking about, uniting a group, creating a common mission. And so for us at RoofCon and ownandroofing.com and Revolt and all the things that we do, I think it starts with that. So we have a foundation called the Revolt Foundation where we go around. This year we have a goal of doing 50 Life 101s, which is our local event that we do. It's called Life 101. We bring in speakers. We teach kids just basic life skills, how to build a budget, how to build credit, leadership skills. Sometimes it's health. Sometimes it's talking about the importance of staying away from drug use. They talk about that some in school, but we bring in like real life stories. Just as an example, one of the last ones we did, we brought in a guy that works for me now that had made $200,000 as a sales rep at our roofing company, and just 4 years prior was addicted to meth. And so talking about how that change happened for him. And I just think it's important. Like we really try to target underprivileged kids. So like the kids whose parents are using drugs, because one of two things is going to happen, man. You have the kids that follow in their path, and you have the kids that say, hell no, I don't want to be anything like them, which is very much my story. I just remember seeing it, feeling the pain, feeling the embarrassment as a kid, and saying, I don't want to be anything like that. And so we're just trying to find those kids, bring them together and lead them. So create that common mission has been big for us within our companies. And that's been the Revolt Foundation. And so, yeah, we have this big goal of doing 50 Life 101s across every single state this year in the United States. And so that's been our goal. It's easy.
How long ago did you start Revolt?
The mastermind in 2019. And it was actually
Revolt is the mastermind. And then there's a foundation that's like an arm of it, but it's a nonprofit.
Yep.
That's awesome. And the people in the mastermind are involved in doing the Life 101s?
Yeah, so a lot of those guys donate to it. One of the things I talk about in the book is creating a common mission. So like a lot of companies will go in there and we'll create our goals and we'll say, hey, we want to do $10 million this year as a company. And that means me as the owner, I'm going to make $1 million, and you as a sales rep, you're going to make $100,000, and we're going to change our lives. And that works for a little bit. But when you can create a common mission that's not about the owners making more money, it's not even about the sales reps making more money or the other employees that are admin and operations and things like that, but it's about other people, it changes everything, man. And it's so hard to see and experience until you actually do it. And I have so many people that have come through our retreats, come through our events, have implemented it, and then come back and tell me everything's changed. The culture's different. People know that we're working towards something instead of something selfishly. A great example of that for Cornerstone, we implemented it. It was in 2020, and we had COVID that year. And so the schools were all shut down from extracurricular activities. That meant prom too. And I saw this lady that I'd gone to church with here locally posting about her daughter's prom getting canceled and how she wanted to basically fund it herself. And it was actually my alma mater. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, this would be a cool opportunity for Cornerstone to kind of give back to the community. We'll pay for a venue. We'll get a DJ. We'll do food and snacks. We'll get some door prizes. We'll pay for it. We figured it'd be like $5,000. And so we committed to it. The lady's like, heck yeah, that's awesome. PTA moms do what PTA moms do. They get on Facebook. They're like, Cornerstone Construction is the best ever. And they're shouting us out, which that was not the intention. Really, it wasn't. But it happened, and it was a benefit. And to this day, we still get people who call us for a roof because they remember that we helped their kid. And so after they make all those posts, we got blown up with phone calls from other schools throughout the state who wanted us to fund their prom. And so we ended up offering 18 schools to pay for their prom, and we got in touch with 12 basically authorities at each school to make it happen. We worked out a deal with the venue. We got a deal with the DJ. And so it ended up costing us like $40,000. We got it down. We negotiated down because those people were vested too. It was great exposure for the venue because it was like a wedding venue that kind of converted and did the proms. So it was good for them. But it was so cool. It made an impact on the kids. We got business from it. All those things are cool. But the best part of all, man, is that our team saw that we are who we say we are. We give back to the community. We don't just talk about it. And so that was awesome because our team got dressed up in their suits and ties. They brought their spouses. We danced. We did the limbo. We interacted with the kids. And it was really a great time.
That's amazing. So you got the whole team actually got to go to the prom also.
Yeah. We split it up because there was 12 of them. So yeah, we didn't go to every single one of them.
That's awesome. There's so many layers to that. I think that's so cool. And that was like, you had what is the mission for Cornerstone? And that's the company. So I just want to clarify, we have Cornerstone, Revolt, the Revolt Foundation, and then roofing.com, right? Is there another brand in there?
RoofCon and RepCard. Yeah.
RoofCon and RepCard. Okay. So, but
they kind of all, it's like an ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see how they all feed together, but Cornerstone is a roofing contractor specifically in a particular state, which is South Carolina.
Yeah,
are you
Southeast,
expanding that?
North Carolina, Georgia. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But if I wanted a roof in Idaho, I might go to roofing.com and for like, that would be the lead. And you would sell that lead to a contractor in Idaho that's affiliated with roofing.com.
We have partners. So they basically partner with us. They pay a monthly fee. And then any leads that come through the website, they just get automatically. They don't pay an upcharge. They get to co-brand with us and some other benefits.
Got it. I love that. So something that I'm super curious about, and I would say probably the thing I'm most passionate about is like how to more effectively inspire people to be entrepreneurial. So what would you say for you? Like, obviously this is my belief. Once you start tasting it, which you clearly have, you are then your belief of what's possible. It's like you give yourself permission to go 10x. But I feel like going from 0 to 1 is way harder than going from 5 to 50 or whatever, whatever that scale is. But it's like, once you start seeing like, oh, wow, I'm doing this, which I never thought I would ever do in my wildest dreams. And it's only been 3 years. So what could I do in 10 years or 20 years? And all of a sudden, then you're like, you've given yourself permission and you're not ashamed to tell people or whatever. But how did Hunter, or how have you seen other people go from that, like, I'm scared, I'm hesitant, I'm not sure, to like, let's jump in and give it a shot. And then like, trust yourself, believe in yourself, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, man. I love that you made mention of realizing what's possible. That's something I say all the time. It's like, that's why I love doing events, dude. When you go to an event and you hear a speaker, you get in that arena and you feel the energy, and you go out and you network in the hallway, and you connect with someone on Facebook, and then you stay in touch with them for years. Like, those are just little. I just think about like a little hammer just chipping away at their noggin, and it's opening their mind to what is possible. When they hear that story and they look at a guy like me, just a redneck from South Carolina, and they're like, dude, if that guy can do it, I can for sure do it, because I ain't real smart. Like, I wrote a bestseller with John Maxwell, and I can hardly even spell, right? Like, I barely graduated 12th grade. I swear Miss Looper, my English teacher, gave me a 70 just to get me out of there. So just chipping away so they can see what's possible. And I think for us, it's very similar to what we teach at our retreats, our Revoltex retreats, to people that are already entrepreneurs. Most of the time, we do have people that are interested in entrepreneurship. I can't talk. Entrepreneurship comes sometimes, but a lot of times, those guys that have already took the plunge, they're still scared. They're afraid. They're like, oh man, I gave up my salary, or maybe they're still double dipping. Like, we have a guy right now that's in Revolt as a member of our actual mastermind that came to a retreat, said, hey, I want to do this, but he still has a government job making like 200 grand a year. And he's terrified to give that up and go full time on his business, but he's just going to have to burn the boats at some point. And so I think getting clear on the fact that one of the main things that we hear at all of our retreats, when we talk about blessings and we talk about reasons, why do you do what you do? Everyone says, family. I do it for my family. And for men, most of us, we say, I want to give my kids the life that I never had, which I think sometimes is a crappy reason. Like, it's a surface level reason. And a lot of times our kids need to feel the same pain that we felt to have the same drive that we have now. That's a whole nother subject that we could get into. But family alone is not a deep enough purpose. And in fact, I think it's kind of shallow to a degree, because they're your responsibility. That's just a given. You don't get to throw everything on that. So like, you chose that life, you chose your spouse, you chose to have kids. So that's step one, responsibility. What about beyond that? And so one of the things we do is an exercise called Fulfillment 50, and I have them list 10 reasons. Like, there's a reason that I have them list 10, because I want them to dig deep and think about it. And again, not to go back to the same thing as a common mission, but kind of the same thing. It's about impact over income. How can you impact others? How can you be legacy focused? How can you make decisions today that are going to get you a result? Not today, not next month, next year. It might not even be in your lifetime. It really might not. They might not know your name. They might not know your business, but the work that you did today continues to impact people years from now. And I think that's really important, that we just get out of that selfish mindset and think about how we can help other people and serve other people through our business. And you may be sitting here listening to this podcast saying, well, like, what's your primary listener on here? Do you have like a niche?
Yeah. So our business works primarily with painting companies. We automate business operations. But I would say the funny thing about my podcast is it's the pursuit of purpose. It's a passion of mine, and people have asked me like, how do you make money on this? I'm like, I don't care. I literally am like, I want to connect with people that are driven by making an impact and a purpose, and I'll talk to them. And if one of my clients listens to it, great. I just had a conversation today with a client who's going to be a guest in the future, who has always wanted to be a private pilot. And I was like, what do you want to talk about on the podcast? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm not really an expert on anything. But I do love, like, I've been reading a lot about private pilots, whatever. And the thing that's cool about this, which I never anticipated, was now I get to have a client of ours who our mission at Boolean is to free you up to do what you love. There's a bunch of data entry in business that just bogs you down, the owners down, and also the employees. And this is like coming full circle. And now he's going to be able to come onto the podcast in a couple months and talk about how he's now able to pursue something that he's passionate about, because he has the bandwidth to actually get out of the day-to-day of the stress of his business. And so anyways, to answer your question, it's, I think, mostly entrepreneur, business related, and in that home service niche. But at the same time, I also don't know. And part of me doesn't care, which maybe means I'm a bad podcaster, but I do it because of the connections. And if I find people that are passionate about something, then that's going to be a good conversation and I get joy out of it. And so hopefully other people do too.
Yeah. And I ask because I know that probably any niche, but painting, roofing, guys like that, they're probably sitting back saying, oh, I just don't know how those things, two things go together. Like, how can I help someone? Well, there's very simple things you could do. You could go find a single mom that she just can't afford to paint her house. And maybe paint isn't quite as necessary as like a roof. Like for us in roofing, if you have a leak in your house, that's a big deal. It can ruin your complete house. So for us, like we go out, we find veterans, we find single moms, we find people to give back to. But not even just that, just getting involved with the community. We do so many giveaways, especially when I was active in Cornerstone. Like I'm not the CEO anymore. I appointed a CEO in 2021, but we still do a ton of giveaways. Like leading up to Christmas, we do 12 days of giveaways. When we hear about someone in the local community that had a house burned down and they have kids, we go and help them get a place to stay. We get them some food. We get them clothes. There's so many things that you can do to make a difference. And then beyond just giving money, I'm not saying just give money, give your time. Invest in the people that are going to come on your team. Equip them well so they have opportunity to change their life too. That's where everything changes. That's where everything changes. For me, when I started to see that I could give people an opportunity to change their life within our company, my mindset completely changed from income to impact. Completely changed from I want to be a millionaire to I want to help other people become a millionaire. And by default, I get there as well along the way. And so I just think that's so important, man, that we get clear on that. There's things that we could do with kids. Like you could take a kid that doesn't have a dad around. Maybe I always use this example. For me, my son's only 5 years old and he plays on this little soccer team. There's just one little kid that is just a hellion, man. Like he's running around everywhere. We're in the middle of a game and I'm a competitor. So like, I want to win the game. I don't care if they're 5. He's like running off the field, climbing a tree. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? We're down by 1 and there's 3 minutes. Let's freaking go. And I want to just grab this kid and shake him. But I remember that it's an opportunity to lead. So I think for all of us as leaders, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we have to look for opportunities to lead. And so for you inside of your business, I don't care if you do painting, interior, exterior, if you build cabinets, if you're a roofer, if you do siding, if you do gutters, there's opportunities to lead. There's kids. Maybe one of your kids' friends doesn't have a dad around, and you could take him and you could teach him some life skills that he could use and get him interested in entrepreneurship. There's so many ways that we can pour into other people. We just have to keep our eyes open to it.
Love that. I feel like the one thing that I would like you to give me more perspective on what I'm missing. I love the fact that service contracting businesses, HVAC, electrician, roofing, siding, painting, and this is, again, I'm acknowledging this is a limiting belief. I'm trying to think like, what do I do? Our business is like a technology company. So like when someone's struggling, like technology is not the answer. It's like, we need heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's I love the idea of like the prom or whatever, but what are the things that a technology company does? Because we're niche, but I'm so mission and purpose driven that what you're saying is inspiring to me. I'm like, breathe more ideas into my mind of like, where am I missing? What am I not seeing on how we could make an impact?
Yeah. I think for you, man, that there's a whole generation of kids coming up now that care a lot less about what we do in the contracting space. And they want to do AI and they want to do tech and they want to do SaaS and they want to do all those things. And how can you serve those kids? You can serve those kids by doing this right here and not to take the shallow way out or easy way out. But in addition to this, more video, more content. How can you show them how to build their own tech business, their own SaaS business? It might be a YouTube channel. Great example of that is we had a kid join Revolt about a year and a half ago. He's probably lower 20s. He's from South Africa, had never been to the United States. He saw what we were doing. He flew over, came to our retreat that we do, and joined Revolt while we were there. And so one of his goals was to impact 10,000 young adults and help them get started with an agency, because that's what he does. He builds websites. So he comes in, he starts crushing it. He has his first $100,000 month with his website agency, building websites, which was a huge goal of his, which doesn't sound like much when, I work with roofers that are doing multiple 8 figures. but his margins are freaking 85%, man. Like he's
Unlike roofing,
crushing it with websites. And he's, again, like mid-20s. And so now he's starting to put out content and impact I can't remember. He sent me a couple months ago, the numbers of how many kids he had basically given this free course to help. And then he ended up launching a paid course after that. So like, here's a free course. You can go through YouTube. You can watch on how to watch your agency. If you want some more one-on-one done for you type stuff, then you come to him and you pay for a little bit more help. But there's so many things like that you could do through the tech side, SaaS side.
So, tell me about the, what's the future of Revolt? What's the future of roofing.com, RoofCon, all these things? And I would even say, pick one that what's most exciting, RepCard, RoofCon, all these things. You talked about the purpose, so that could be maybe what's most exciting and Revolt and the foundation. But what's like the thing that's like, oh baby, I can't even, like, you guys have no idea what's coming?
Yeah. So if I was talking income wise, it is, Cornerstone, it's roofing.com, RoofCon, kind of all those together. RepCard is fun just because it's different and it gets me in the SaaS space versus like these blue collar businesses. I do love RepCard a lot. I'm very passive in that. It's more of like a monthly check-in with the guy that's running it. But definitely the thing that I stay most excited about always, and it's kind of my baby, and I explain it like this. Revolt to me is what Virgin is to Richard Branson. Like, it's my baby. I never want to sell it. I want to keep it till I die and then have it keep on running with whoever's running at that point. And hopefully it's not just one person. We have a coaching program now that we launched not even a year ago. We've got 15 to 20 coaches. So a lot of the retreats I don't even run. They just did one in Dallas this past weekend. 10 new members signed up at that. So yeah, we just want to continue to develop leaders. I tell people all the time, my life mission, just simply in one little statement, is my life mission is to develop millions of leaders who go on to impact billions of lives. So that is my goal, is through our events, through our conferences, through our content, through podcasts like this, through the retreats, I'm trying to develop millions of leaders. That's what I want to do. And so I stay really hyped up about Revolt because I get the pleasure of seeing all the text, all the emails, all the testimonial videos, all the things that are happening in these people's lives. And it's just such a blessing, man. It's really cool to see. And it's cool to see, it's really cool to see me not go to a retreat and a member that came in November of 2021 and a member that came in October of 2022 lead the retreat and get the same result that I got. Maybe a little bit hit to the ego, right? Because it's like, oh man, it can't be done without Hunter. But that's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose, is if I die tomorrow, I don't want the vision of Revolt. I don't want the movement of Revolt to die. I want to continue developing leaders who are focused on their legacy.
Love that. I think, and I feel like, I don't know if you relate to this, but I was talking to my wife about the role or the job of the entrepreneur is to like start doing something that you're not very good at, get really good at it, and then train somebody else to do it, and then do something else that you're not very good at. And then you're constantly like, but that's why I think people like stall out, is because it sucks. Like, no, I don't want to give up sales. I love sales. Like, I'm so good at it. Like, I can sell like nobody else. It's like, yeah, but if you're stuck in that seat, then who's setting the vision for the company? And so you got to go to the next level, and you're not good at it, and maybe your finances is like the next dragon. And then the next thing is like inspiring people. And then the next thing is speaking. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, entrepreneurs that scale are just really comfortable being uncomfortable and stuff that they're not good at, so they can figure it out and then train somebody else how to do it,
Yeah, you got to believe in people too, man. It's for me, I've had people tell me, especially my CPA, he says, man, your best and worst quality is you trust people too much. So you got to believe in people. You got to see the best in people. And in fact, you got to believe in people more than they believe in themselves as a leader. Like you do, you got to see more. You got to see before. I've heard John Maxwell say that before they even believe they can do it, you got to believe for them.
I love that. So let's jump into some wrap-up questions here. Book recommendations. What are your 3 book recommendations?
Man, there's a lot of good books out there. Let's go with The Difference Maker by John Maxwell, talking about positive attitude. I'm going to go with that one because my word of the year for 2024 is attitude. Let's go with Relentless by Tim Grover, which is he was the trainer for Dwayne Wade, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. That's a great book. And then shameless plug, Make It Count by yours truly. It gives you a really good sample size of what we do through our events, our retreats, and it actually gives you many of the exercises, and it's practical. Like you go through and fill it out, walk through the exercises as you read the book.
Love that. And that you said that was co-authored with John Maxwell?
Forward by John Maxwell.
The forward was by John Maxwell. Sweet. Well, yeah, that's awesome. What is the last question I always ask? This is just for fun. Is what's your favorite movie?
Forrest Gump. Got to be Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. And if people want to get in touch with you, what is your preferred method that they do that?
Yeah, Facebook works good. You can hit me up on Facebook. I have a profile on there. I also have one of those community numbers. I can never remember the number. Let me look at it. It's 480-531-5576. So 480-531-5576. If someone texts me there, it'll make them put in their information. They can ask me questions, and it's actually me responding to it.
That's awesome. Is that the same thing that Gary Vaynerchuk uses? I think I've seen that.
Yeah. It just keeps people from having your personal number, so you don't get any crazy people calling you at 2 a.m.
Right.
Because it's happened. Trust me. I used to give away my personal number. I had to change it.
Yeah. Well, Hunter, any other closing remarks or things to leave us with?
No, man, I really enjoyed being on the podcast. I think I would just challenge people to go out there, get super clear on your vision. We're blessed that it's the very beginning. We're in Q1 still of 2024. There's a lot of opportunity ahead of us. Get clear on what you want, and just know that it's not just about you. It's not just about your family. It's about the bigger picture. It's about a lasting legacy after you're gone. And when you get tired, when you get bogged down, when you don't believe in yourself, remember that it's not just for you, it's for other people, and let that continue to push you.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I think this was fun to connect, and I'm inspired by and motivated by what you're doing in the roofing world. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk about it.
Thanks, Chris. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for listening. My name is Chris Kiefer, and my mission is to champion the relentless pursuit of purpose. And what that means to me is to be an example, a champion, someone that is in the trenches, working and showing and winning and trying and failing in how to pursue a deeper and more meaningful life with the people that I love, with my kids, with my friends, with our family, and also just be a champion and example of entrepreneurship and following my passion and doing what I believe I'm called to on this earth. And so if that inspires you in some way, please share this episode. If you want, subscribe, share, whatever, do all the stuff. It means the world to me to get this message and get these guests that I have out there. And if you're interested in any of the book recommendations or looking up other episodes, the movie list, you can visit my website, chriskiefer.com, for all the details on the show, and also check out the Boolean review software, as well as the Boolean automation consulting company that I own for home service businesses. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.